in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to vBrownBag.com. Sorry we were a little late this evening, experienced some technical difficulties, but tonight we are talking about writing a good README.md for our hashtag commitments episode with Mike. I'm sorry, Mike, I should have checked with you. Is it Marseglia?
Yeah, Marseglia, you got it.
I got it. All right. So a few quick notes. Get in on the conversation at vBrownBag, at vBrownBagLatam, and at vBrownBagEMEA. Twitter hashtag is hashtag vBrownBag. Feel free to ask us questions either via Twitter or via the GoToMeeting software. Of course, we have different vBrownBag episodes every week, every other week coming at you. APAC every other Thursday, 10 NZT. EMEA Tuesdays, 7 p.m. BST, LATAM Thursdays, 7 p.m. PDT, and of course the US Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Central. And like I said, our guest tonight is Mike Marseglia. I'm your host, Lauren Malhoit. Chris Malhoit may or may not be joining us as a host soon. We'll see. There are a lot of prizes you guys can win, so check it out. Keep watching the Commitments episodes. And with that, check out how to clone and star our repos on GitHub. And then I am going to pass this over to Mike.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for sticking with us.
Hey, it's cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining tonight. My name's Mike Marseglia, and I'm doing a quick presentation on what goes into a good README. So hopefully you all can see my screen there. I think that's a yes. All right. So basically, I mean, we would talk about README. I mean, what actually is it? What goes into it? They've been around for a while. Textbook definition from Wikipedia. README, it's basically info about the software that you're writing. They've come in different formats, docs, RTFs, etc. One thing about the README file itself is that it's usually written in all uppercase, so that when you're doing a directory listing, especially on a Linux system, that the name of this file is going to bubble up to the top of the directory listing. So you want it to be first and foremost what people see when they're checking out your repo, because it's going to have all the pertinent information in it. So the two takeaways so far is that one, you want to make sure that you capitalize the name, and two, add a file extension to the end to denote the file's format. Could be Markdown for MD, text, doc, etc. Second thing about READMEs is use Markdown. If you haven't heard of Markdown before, it's a markup language that's really easy to read and write, and it was meant to be converted right to HTML. So I've got the URL for the Markdown project up, but you can go ahead and Google it. I know Aaron Schwartz was one of the folks who was working on that at the time, and it's a really nice markup language because of how you can create headings, table of contents, etc., but without having to do all of those funky HTML angle brackets that can make it less than desirable to read. Markdown is easy to read in both plain text and its interpreted form. But Markdown is a bit fragmented. So when you're writing your README, and if you're going to write it in Markdown, which I highly recommend, you're going to have to target your Markdown if you want to make use of some of the special extensions for the platform that you're writing to. For instance, there's a GitHub flavored Markdown, which you can find on the GitHub help, because they have all sorts of different extensions for @ mentions, relating to issues, and I think there's a few other special things that they probably throw in there. There's also GitLab flavored Markdown, so if you're a user of GitLab, you'll want to look at those special extensions as well. And then there's a couple others. The list goes on quite a bit. There was an attempt to kind of standardize Markdown, and some of the core features, at least, are pretty consistent. Headings, lists, ordered lists, numbered lists, hyperlinks, the basics. But when you're ready to actually go ahead and write your README, make sure that you know who your audience is, and then target those special extensions for that platform. In most cases, it's going to be GitHub, I think, for the majority of people, and they have a link where you can get more information on what you need to do there. So be aware of your target platform and any idiosyncrasies that there might be when writing your README Markdown file. What goes actually into a README file? Well, it depends. 18F, they have an open source style guide.
Okay.
And they suggest that you should have a description, basically a what and a why for the project, how to develop, use, and test the project, how to contribute,
Sure.
any licensing information
But I rebooted.
that is permanent for the project, and any contact information. How do they get in touch with you? Who's in charge? Who maintains it? Who should be
I was in
have bugs directed
I mean,
to?
I was to go to meeting. But anyway, I know it. But
What
well, anyway.
doesn't go in a
Well,
README
so
file?
I'm.
A README file is not a changelog.
But
That's what changelogs are for. It is also not a to-do list. You can have a separate file just called to-do with your repo if you would like to kind of keep track of things.
Gotcha.
It is not for detailed documentation. Leave that for a
You're
wiki.
recording it, right?
And that
Should I?
is a fine line. That's a gray area. It's not easy to say, well, what's detailed documentation and what do people actually need to get up and use this?
Okay.
It's not for tracking bugs. Go find an issue tracker for that. If there's
All right.
something really important that you think that the user might need to know, especially if you perhaps just bumped up a point release, then you might want to include that in your README because it's going to be important for the user to know that when they're running it. Obviously, don't put any sensitive information in your README. And try to cut out the opinions and the editorials. You know, if I was looking at, say, a README for the Vim project, I would not expect to see a diatribe on why Vim is better than Emacs. That just doesn't belong in a README. I'm more concerned about how to use the software, how to compile the project. So if you have very strong opinions or an editorial, maybe that should go in a blog post and not the README file. The point here is to give the user enough information as necessary to quickly get up to speed on your project, find out what it's about, why they would want to use it, how it accomplishes that, and any requirements or anything else that they're going to need to get using it. So fourth point is stick to the basics. Your README should answer the questions what, why, how, and who. If it doesn't sufficiently address those, then you should probably put in a little bit more detail. Next part about READMEs is that you might have some project-specific READMEs or some corporate standards or even project standards if you're a part of a larger project. I'm a big Puppet guy myself, so I make use of the Puppet module skeleton. And the Puppet module skeleton is a template file. It's a bunch of templates, and it has a template README in the skeleton. And if you go on to GitHub and you start doing some searching, I found some Ruby skeleton READMEs, and I'm sure there's a few others. Some of the languages just have a few idiosyncrasies where they need some extra information, very specific information in the README file. The Puppet module skeleton really isn't too different than what you'd expect to see in any README. The module skeleton's README does have an overview, a module description, setup, usage, reference, any limitations, and then develop. Say about 6 different sections. And in the skeleton for the README, because it's the template, everything as you run the skeleton and execute the Puppet skeleton, it actually fills in some of these because it's a template. It can fill in some of the blanks for you and kind of flesh out the README a little bit more. So you could check with your project, or if you're working in a large corp, they might have a template already README that you can use and go from there. And you can see that from these 6 points, it's not too different from what 18F had asked for as well. I mean, they're all pretty basic headings. I think the one thing that's probably missing here is a licensing heading. We don't see that in the Puppet module skeleton. So the 5th point is look for any corporate or project standards that you might have. You might be able to find something, a good template. There's lots of gists out there, and be able to make sure that you hit all the bullet points. It's really not the Markdown that's particularly difficult in writing a README. It's more along the lines of what goes into it, what should I leave out of it, what belongs in it, and making sure that all the information is there. So I did have a video. I went to Lisa Boston, Lisa 16, and I interviewed a couple of people, but I can't get the audio to play through GoToMeeting. So I'm going to share this link out if I can here. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to tweet this link out. So if you'd like to view it, you can. And I talked to 2 different systems administrators, and they talked about what they like to see in a README file as well. And they talked about the same kind of principles. That Sean Johnson, the first engineer I interviewed, his main concern was really having enough information to be able to get started with the project really quickly. His big thing was he didn't want to have to wade through a lot of documentation in the beginning, and he wanted to just kind of get to the point and kind of understand how to get started with that project as soon as possible. The second systems administrator I interviewed, his name was Sean. His main concern with README files, and what he really liked, especially using Markdown, is that the barrier to entry to using Markdown is very, very low. That it's very easy for someone to kind of pick it up, and they like to use it for sharing information and being able to mark it up that way. So they found that very, very easy to use. Now I'd like to head on over to GitHub, and I'd like to show you a couple examples. So the first example is going to be the Puppet module skeleton from Gareth. So you can see that and see what I meant by a template. So this is Gareth Rushgrove, works for Puppet, and he created this Puppet module skeleton. So if you like Puppet development, and if you're not using this, you definitely should be. It's very, very easy to use. And inside the skeleton, we have a README in Markdown that is also a template. So we can see here from this README, we've got our table of contents. We start with a series of hash symbols, which indicate a heading, and then we have an ordered list here. We have a bulleted list, some more headers, and in here, we can see some things that are not marked down. So for example, this metadata name here, this is part of the template. So Puppet module skeleton takes this template and it will start filling in this data when you tell it what your module name is. And so it kind of makes it really quickly to just bootstrap. But you can see with the, yes?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the image.
You're not seeing it, huh? Oh, that's too bad. Let's see.
I've got the vBrownBag screen up, but I don't see the image that you're displaying.
Oh, all right. Let's see. How about here? Do you see this one?
No, I don't see it.
No. We'll close that.
It may be because I'm a panelist, though, and maybe we need Lauren to verify. I just didn't want you to continue.
Oh, sure. Can you see? Can everyone see the? Can everyone? Oh, we got 5 attendees on. Let's see. Can folks see the? I think we have a chat here. So can folks see the Puppet module skeleton README file?
I'm going to, while we're waiting for somebody to respond, I'm going to text Lauren and ask her if she can see the image.
Sure.
I was having difficulty myself. I'm sorry we started late. That was my fault.
Oh, no worries.
But I just, she's trying to do 3 things at once. But I just shot her a text to see if she could just take a peek at her screen. Okay, there, now it's up.
Okay.
I don't know what happened, but now I see what you're talking about.
Oh, I paused it. I paused the screen sharing, then I restarted it. So maybe that did.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Okay. I hope my whole presentation wasn't like that.
No. It just just for the last couple of minutes.
Oh, okay, good. So here's the Puppet module skeleton I was talking about. This is from Gareth Rushgrove, and there's a number of contributors as well from Puppet. And here, interspersed with the Markdown, we have some templating language. So this is not Markdown. This is part of the template. But having this is an example of a README file that is very project specific, specific to Puppet module development. And when you use this skeleton to create a Puppet module, to bootstrap a Puppet module that you may be writing or working on, they give you this template that you can draw on that becomes part of your module, and it fills in all of these variables with the name of your module. You can see here the ordered list, the bulleted list. You can see that we have a heading up at the top in row 1. And it's Markdown very, very easy to read. I can read this, and I can understand that the table of contents is, the first item in the list is overview, and it looks at the overview section, and I can find the overview section here, and if I really want. And these are all hyperlinks as well. If I was just reading this as plain text, I don't need to understand that, but as plain text, it makes it much easier to read than, say, an HTML file normally would. So here's the Puppet module skeleton, and it's how they use it. And we can see a README that is actually interplay. When we look at a README, so here's a README in Markdown format. And GitHub will take any README. It doesn't have to be called README.md. It doesn't have to be README all uppercase. Any file named README, any combination upper lowercase with an extension, without an extension, will be read by GitHub, and it will automatically be displayed as the documentation in your repository. So after all of the files are listed in your repo here, it will display the README file. And when we can look at this file in raw format, So if we just go ahead and click on the file and take a look at it raw, see here the Markdown language as it looks kind of under the hood. And so again, we can see it's very, very easy to read. It helps to have a special interpreter, but we don't have to have a special interpreter. I can read this and edit this in Vim, and I would be just fine. And this is a very lengthy README. The Puppet Labs Apache module has a lot of documentation. You can just see by the scroll bar. So if you're thinking about, oh my God, I can't put all this information in my README, well, it depends. If your project is very complicated and it requires it, then yes, absolutely, put the documentation in. And you can see I'm not even halfway down in this, and they're talking about all the different examples just for this one Puppet module, this one piece of software. And again, we have special characters in the Markdown format. I think this is one of the GitHub special extensions, and there might be other programs that have implemented this here. When we talked about special extensions, this signifies the 3 ticks, and then the name of the language will tell GitHub that this is Puppet code. And so it should be formatted and highlighted in a certain way. And I think that's one of the other GitHub specific things that's not part of the native Markdown format. Now you can write Markdown with just a notepad or Vim or anything you like. There are special editors that you can get. My favorite one for Mac was actually one called Moo, which is a Markdown editor. This is actually a really beautiful Markdown editor. That's all it does is Markdown, and I really liked it. It's easy to use. It's simple. It's just nothing else. It just does one thing and does it really well. You can also look to your IDE. So I use IntelliJ. And if we bring up IntelliJ, IntelliJ IDEA. This also has a, cancel that.
Like, what image should I be seeing right now?
Do you see my IDE stood up?
No, I'm still seeing the screen that the heading was Alexander Panic, use proper Markdown.
Oh, really?
I might be two slides back. Okay, now I see Moo. Okay, got it.
Okay, all right. So there's Moo.
I don't know why we're having these technical problems.
No, it's because I'm on a Mac. That's why. So here's Moo. If you didn't see Moo before, here's the Moo editor. This is a really beautiful Markdown editor that I really like. The one that's very simple and clean, easy to use. And then there was I want to show an example of an IDE. So there's it's an IDE, and I can start a new project. So I can start a new project and new file. So you see the IDE, right?
I don't see that. I still have the there. Now we got it.
Okay.
Well, I've got a blank screen, but I've got README.md.
Okay.
I assume that you're launching with the editor.
That's right. So here, with this IDE, IntelliJ IDEA, this is an example of an IDE that has integrated the a plugin, and there's other ones if you get, I think like Sublime, or what's the, there's another one, I can't name it, excuse me, but Sublime's another IDE. These IDEs, being very powerful, have added plugins for Markdown, so that you can have, say, an ordered list, and you notice part of Markdown is that any number will automatically start to get ordered. So even though I've typed in 2 ones, when it's interpreted in Markdown, it sees it as an ordered list, and it will list them as 1 and then 2. And I could continue on again, and here's a third element in the list, and again it says 1, but when interpreted as Markdown, it lists it as 3. And then we can also have a bulleted list, and so forth.
I still only have the blank screen though, Mike. Can you kick it? Oh, there we go. Got it.
I'm just going to keep hitting this pause and restart. Let's see.
Thanks. I'm sorry about that, but
no, it's all right.
I
I
hate
think
to
I
miss
got it.
what you're talking about.
It's all right. All right. I think it's there now. Okay. Maybe it's me.
I see it now.
Okay. All right. So we have these lists here. So here's an example of an IDE where you can actually see the Markdown and write it, and as you're writing it, you'll actually see it interpreted. So there's Sublime and other IDEs do have plugins for that type of behavior.
But this is Moo, right?
This one is IntelliJ.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Yep. This one is IntelliJ, and then we have this is an example of the Moo interface. I don't actually think I have Moo installed right now. I had to redo my Mac, or I updated or something, and I lost it. And then since then, I've gotten IntelliJ idea, and now I use the Markdown editor that's embedded into the IDE. So depending on your workflow, you may use a combination of tools. So that's all I've got for today's presentation. We've talked about what goes into a README, answering the questions who, what, where, why, making sure that the README isn't too verbose, but definitely contains enough information for folks to get a sense of your project. What don't put in there, don't make your README a changelog, don't make it a to-do list. Keep it pertinent to developing the project and what people should expect to do with it, and how to contribute, and any licensing information. Look for the project that you're working on. If you're part of a larger group or working in a big corp, then you might want to look for some sort of README standards. Puppet module skeletons, just an example of one, but again, if you go through Google, through GitLab, sure you'll find some other project, whether it's Ruby or whatnot, that have some pretty standardized README files that you could also use from there.
Mike, could you put up your link for the video? I think that might have
oh, yeah.
been hidden.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
Do you have a slide for the puppet? It was right about the middle of the presentation, and I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so Gareth Rushgrove's Puppet module skeleton
Perfect.
Can be found on GitHub. And I'm sorry, what was the other thing you're looking for?
Your link to the video.
Oh, the video, yes. Let's see. Actually, did I tweet that out?
Oh, you may have, and I didn't catch that. But if you
Yep.
can display it on the screen, then at least people will have it when they see the recording. Looks like it's working.
Yep. here's the video. It's too bad the audio doesn't
Yeah.
come through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tweeted this out with the hashtag commitmiss, so you can find me on Twitter, Mike Marseglia, and you can go listen to Sean and him talk about what he found interesting in README. So that was taken from Lisa 16, which was just in Boston just a few weeks ago.
Oh, sure. Mike, thanks. Your presentation was great. I'm sorry for all the complications, but
Oh, no problem.
I think we've gotten the slides that I missed, so I think the presentation is complete. I just texted Lauren too. She'll have to come on board and close the session, but I'm going to just make sure we don't have any questions. I think we're good, Mike. Thanks very much. Great presentation.
Oh, great. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for the recommendations, too, for the Markdown editors.
Yeah, like I said, check with your favorite IDE. They probably have a plugin. And if you can't find it there, I suggest Moo. So I like that one. I thought that was nice. But really, you could go on Google and you'll find no lack of options when it comes to Markdown editors. They're quite literally all over the place. But again, when you do that, just word of caution, because when you do start writing your README, then depending on the editor you use, you may not see all the functionality if you're targeting a specific platform like a GitHub or a GitLab or something like that. So just bear that in mind, and when you do eventually get your Markdown on GitHub, make sure that those things are working as you expected if you're referencing certain issues or things like that.
Thanks for the advice. I think that's going to do it for this commitmiss presentation. Great. Thanks to Mike Marseglia. Great presentation on the README recommendations.
Thanks. Is anyone around? We still have the mic control. If anyone's there, we can chat. I'm not going anywhere.
Let's see. I don't have any hands raised.
No? Okay.
I think you covered it.
Okay.
I'm glad we got the other slides up, though.
Good.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.